Mhm. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, um, cities all across the country. I like to first start this off by addressing my adopted hometown, the city of Houston. Everything is bigger in Texas, right? Even the losses, right? But I say that with a smile, but there's nothing really funny about it at all. Um, when I chose with the 29th pick, Houston, to come here and resurrect your franchise and to set forth in doing so, I called it the greatest challenge in this league's history. And approximately 20 games in, I think that billing has held up. However, though the mission is such, I haven't lived up to expectations myself, right? I mean, let's think about it. I went 9-8 first year, which some would say was a success. It wasn't because there was no postseason game. You know, for all the teams that revealed alternate uniforms prior to this cycle beginning, we're one of the few. We might be the only one actually that hasn't gotten to wear ours. And why is that? Because I came in here with a mantra, and that mantra is earn everything. And those uniforms are included in that. And I told the team that until they make the playoffs, no red helmets would be in our future. Well, 20 games into the season, we'll get to what's happened ahead of game number 21 and why I'm sitting here live at NRG Stadium rather than in Foxborough preparing my team for the New England Patriots. We'll get to that pretty soon. But expectations, I haven't lived up to them at all. I have, as arduous as it's been, you guys were supposed to be getting the original elite. You guys were supposed to be getting a player myself who had a Hall of Fame resume long before it ever became a topic of discussion in these parts. You guys were supposed to be getting, quite frankly, one of the best to ever do it. You've gotten glimpses, but you haven't really gotten it in any of those senses enough to say that your expectation of me has been met. And I own that, right? I sit here before you again from the stadium, and we have a game to play versus the Patriots, or we had a game. I had a game to play versus the Patriots. But instead, I'm staring 0-4 right in the face. And that record is staring me back to the point that it knows every feature, every detail of what you see right now, which is fine. So the first thing I want to do is apologize because Houston, this has been, by my standards, a piss poor product. Never mind the personnel struggles that we've had. I think the exacerbating factors of, trying to replace a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, I made that more difficult than it had to be. I can assure you, Davis Mills is not only the starter moving forward, but he's the answer. He's the guy that we're going to hitch this wagon on, and he's going to bring us to success. And then I guarantee you that's going to happen sooner than later. But I also understand that in my undertaking of this franchise that I kind of hamstrung us in that regard. Also, I think factors such as The first simulated draft in years, right? We had to go a different route. We had three first round draft picks. I know, some of you as fans are still wondering about Laramie Tunsil in that trade in year one. Also know that without that trade, we don't get a game breaker, a game changer in Jalen Ramsey. And please just wait on it. We'll get to him in a second. As a matter of fact, I just met with Jalen not too long ago, and we're discussing ways right now to maximize his involvement on this team, his matchup, like things that are going to matter come game days once we're done starting our suspensions. But things that are going to matter on game days and that are going to ultimately help put wins in the column for us, and we have none right now. But aside from that, I apologize for not getting us off to the start that we've needed to get off to. You guys deserve playoff football. This is a rich, rich football city in a rich, rich football state. Some of the best product in terms of football talent come out of Texas, right? Some of the best players to ever play this game have played in Houston. So I got some pretty big shoes to fill, and I got a lot of room to grow as far as getting us to where we need to be. And you can rest assured that 3 games into this season, we're not where we need to be. Spoiler alert, we're about to be 0-4, right? We're about to be 0-4. I'm not playing this week. That's an automatic win for tying and winning Patriots. Don't trip, Houston. We're going to be all right because changes are here. Changes are on the way. And we're going to talk about that a little later. How we got here, right? The why. And if you've been sleeping under a rock, how I got to this state once again where, I'm the example, unfortunately. But one thing I can say about that one is this time it's my fault. It's my fault completely. As a day one member of Nike Talk League, right? I know that there's things that, you or I should not do. I understand being one of the oldest members as far as tenure, being one of the longest running members, I should put it that way. I understand that there are things that if I do them, it's going to be more groundbreaking than, say another player doesn't. But I also know that that goes into my penalty a little bit. So let's take you back to about 24 hours ago. I'm playing, we're on the road. I'm back in Houston, but we're in Baltimore playing against the Ravens. Good team, right? Good team. It was a game that I've been looking forward to for a while. And we had an early opportunity. We, squandered that, and ultimately the game got away from us, as it's happened so many times over the first season and 3 games of my time here. Something we got to get better at. And I think the frustration from trying to build us back up from the ground, from ground zero, and taking on the biggest project that this league has ever seen. It's only right that as a revolutionary of this league, that it was me to take on this assignment. And right now, it's getting the best of us at the moment. And I think the frustration from that, from not allowing Houston, you guys, to experience a home playoff game last season, or any playoff game for that matter, along with not really being able to take advantage of the draft capital that we had in the way that we originally planned to. So we pivot and made, a blockbuster trade, which they're saying 3 games in is a fleece. Okay, cool. Is it a fleece when other blockbuster trades follow my same template? This ain't the first time that this has happened. This ain't the last time it's going to happen. I do something, somebody bound to follow, right? And Houston, I apologize for that too, because usually I'm the one in front of the trends. I'm the one that you guys were expecting, and rightfully so, me to come in and do things my way as I've always done. And I've attempted to in some cases, but in a large case, I haven't. I followed a trend that we won't discuss here because it doesn't need to be put out there for game planning purposes. But I followed a particular trend that just quite frankly ain't me. And I've paid the price for it pretty handsomely, especially this season. So I apologize for that too. But still in all, I'm still creating templates and structures of sort for others to follow behind me. How do you think Derrick Henry went from Tennessee to Denver? 2 first-round picks and a nice player, right? Nice young player. Where did that start? Right here. 2 first-round picks, which, if I may add, out of the three were the later two of the first round. I kept my original pick, in which we got Nick Hyde, who we need to continue to kind of anchor our offensive line at the center position. Cool. But I traded picks 31, 32, and Derek Stingley. Sorry you guys didn't get to really know him too well because he was only here a season. Not his fault. It's just business. But you have to understand what I'm doing here. We need guys to win, and we need guys that not necessarily need development at this moment. We got to catch up, Houston, right? We're trying to get to right now where 31 other teams started their campaigns, whether it be from having a franchise quarterback or just better players, period. Like, more experienced guys, less crippling contracts. We're still in a couple now that we're not going to get rid of until after the season. That's just the nature of the business. And that has hampered our growth a little bit. I won't lie about it. But just as much as those factors have gotten in our way, I've gotten in our way too. And it's time we stop that. So as of right now, I'm not playing until at the earliest week 5, right? You won't see Jalen Ramsey until week 8, correct? Because I want to clarify, and I got clarification that while I'm suspended 1 game for the actions that we'll get into in a second, Jalen Ramsey suspended 3 games, starting, will not return to action in week 5. And we host the LA Chargers. We're right back on this field, looking to earn everything and get our first win. But let's go back to Baltimore. Let's talk about how we got here, and I'll share my thoughts on that afterwards. Game gets away from us, 31-7, fourth quarter. Now, I'm a player who, again, as I've mentioned before, I'm a player who in this league, sometimes when you need to set an example, look no further than that. Case in point. Do you want the cases? I got several. Cases in point. Madden 15 in the calendar year of 2014/2015. There was a rule that stated basically that an advance will happen at X, whatever time it was, like 10 o'clock Eastern sharp. I was in the middle of the game with New Orleans Saints as the owner of the Carolina Panthers, and was up 32-14, chewing clock. We'll talk about that also. Chewing clock to get out of there with the win, just trying to preserve the win. Got advanced on, and I think because that game hadn't finished, of course, it wasn't registered in the system, and we ended up losing the game via simulation, right? But it's one of those cases, if it can happen to Reto, it can happen to anybody. Fair enough. Let's stay in the year 2015, the off season prior to Madden 16, right? Still at the Carolina Panthers. Kelvin Benjamin, you might have heard of him once upon a time. He was an area receiver once. He gets injured in training camp, tears his ACL. Real life. Before the game comes out, right? It was declared and ruled and supported, if not influenced, by my biggest rival at the time. What up, Jose? Detroit. To keep pre-existing injuries on. Okay, that was the ruling. So here I go, entering not only a season but a cycle without my top receiving threat. No biggie. All we did was go 16-0, registered the first undefeated regular season in Nike Talk history. Despite all that, right? In that same calendar year, you had the whole shoe clock narrative, which hasn't escaped me to this single day. I still ask you the question, and nobody's been able to answer me. What else would I do with this team? Please tell me. Y'all talking about y'all want me to throw 20, 30-yard reads downfield with whom and with what protection? Please answer those two questions. I digress. I won't even waste too much time on it. I know you can't answer it. But be as it is, that narrative's followed me, right, for some time. 2016, Madden 17, playbook change coincided with my departure from Carolina and probably affected myself more than anybody. Is what it is. But let's talk more about the here and now. Let's talk about how we got here now, because ever since probably 2016, there was one suspension in 2017. That was only a player for a single game. But let's talk about what is, right? And let's talk about also this latest ruling, which has me sitting here from a press box at NRG. I have not been suspended for anything until now in 5 calendar years. My last suspension I caught was because I threw 6, or was it 7, touchdowns versus a CPU opponent back when we were playing those games, and my quarterback caught a game. Cam Newton caught a game. So that's what it was. That was the most recent one. And after that, been towing the line with ease, right? No trouble. I don't cause nothing. The most I might cause is coming on here and creating a conversation. But hey, I mean, I can't bring this to the commissioners' faces. So what better avenue to talk about this than my own show, right? So in knowing that, that's why we're here today. But at the end of that Baltimore game that I keep mentioning and going away from, and I just want to stick to it. At the end of that game, it's 31-7. And I just took a little gander in the rule book as I was awaiting my fate before I realized I had to take a flight back from Foxborough to Houston because I wasn't going to be playing. So I'm awaiting my fate. I'm looking at the rule book, and I'm looking at a 24-point deficit in the fourth quarter against a team that I wasn't coming back against, with the team that I was certain wasn't coming back with. So let me ask you this. If I score, or if anybody scores 7 points in 3 quarters, do you think they're scoring 24 in the fourth? And not only just like a one full fourth quarter, like maybe like 5 minutes of a quarter. Do you think we're scoring 24 points in 5 minutes? Probably not, right? Chances are, I bet pretty safe money that's not going to happen. So, in being 0-3, I've gotten, unfortunately, used to this a little bit, and I apologize for this, Houston, because you don't deserve what you've been seeing on this field. The effort has not been there, and we're going to get that straightened out. But I did something I did in week 2. I requested my opponent to just shoot the clock. The game was over. I've done that quite a bit lately. I mean, I did it in the 42-7 loss versus Tennessee last season. I did it in week 2, home opener versus Cleveland. And I did it in week 3 versus Baltimore. You know, it was said, well, we'll get to what was said. What I did was go in the chat. I requested Flash, my opponent. It's nothing against Flash. We've already talked about this, and he already knows where I was coming from with that. I already know that this is nothing. Like we're fine. But I'm just saying this so the rest of y'all understand what's going on. And it's like, oh, he PTP. Like, yeah, I did. Because At the peak of my frustration was the fact that, like when I know it's over, it's over, right? And I request, I don't know if you saw it or not, but I put it in the chat and you can go look for yourself. It was just about 24 hours ago. It was like basically the game's over, go ahead, shoot the clock. I'm just at this point, I'm picking whatever playing on defense. I don't care who's doing what at this point. I'm just ready for him to get his stats and take his win. I'm ready to go and do other things and figure out how I'm gonna get out of an 0-3 now 0-4 hole if you cut this New England game that I'm not playing this week. I'm ready to figure out how I can look forward and turn this around. And I will turn it around, trust you me. But no clock is being ran. And I looked in the rule book because I try not to get suspended these days. I've done pretty well for myself. But I look in the rule book and it showed me what I was pretty sure I already know. I just like to be triple sure rather than double sure. If you have 28 plus in the fourth, just shoot the clock. That was my standpoint of it. It was nothing flashy, nothing egregious, nothing at all. Play a good game. I was just frustrated to the point that I was just like, let's just get it over with. And at this point, whether I'm down, if I were down 35-7 or if I was down 31-7, which I was, what's the difference? Either way, I ain't coming back. So my frustration with the totality of trying to resurrect this franchise boiled over, and I made a decision that wasn't the smartest. All right, cool. Flash gets the force win, as he should. And and the first thing I said about it was, I'm going to sit here. I'll take any penalty that comes down from the office. So this ain't no plea. This isn't anything. But what it is my side of the story. So I'm going to tell it as I see fit. No guests from the show. It's just me today. So I'll wait and I'll wait. I talked over with a couple people within the league, and I wait my fate today. And then boom, setting things up with Ty, thinking I'm about to play. Right. 3.5 hours later, the ruling comes down. Okay, well, at least I made it worth the wait. I myself suspended the game. Jalen Ramsey, acquisition of the offseason, suspended 3. Okay, cool. I don't go asking for reasoning, number one, because I'm not going to get it. Number 2, it doesn't matter. And number 3, chances are I could make a compelling case if I wanted to. But what's the point? It's going to fall on deaf ears. So rather than put it in the chat, I'm bringing it here on my platform where I can be myself and do and say whatever it is I want without anything. So how do I feel about it? Again, I'm accepting of it because 10 times out of 10, I'm gonna do what I did. Like if we're being real, I'm gonna do exactly what I did 10 times out of 10. I requested my opponent to shoot the clock. Now, granted, my frustration is not going to get the best of me, but in that same position, I felt like I did the right thing. And all I've heard ever since I did that yesterday was some version of, I'm disappointed in you. Why'd you do it? Did you do it? Yes, I did it. And for real, what y'all disappointed for? Like, what are we disappointed for? Is it because of that long-standing history that I just ran through minutes ago? Is it because I'm an OG in this game? I'm a veteran in this league? Is it like, but why? Y'all know this. Like, y'all know good and well we all got our personalities and we all got our quirks and things about us. If you don't know by now, here's a reminder. I might be the most prideful person in this league. Straight up and down. I couldn't tank with the worst team starting out in Nike Talk League history. Why? Because of pride. So I went out there and finished over 500. I went out there and finished with the same record as teams like Buffalo, Kansas City, Los Angeles, the Chargers. Like teams that are way better than what we got right here. Right or wrong, true or false? That pride alone got me 9 wins last season. And of course, I'm looking to build off of that, right? And I'm like, if I can get 9, starting under 74 overall, granted, we're still very much in rebuilding, but if I can get 9 out the gate, imagine what's going to happen when I have a playbook that's more friendly for me and that caters to more what I like to do in offense. Imagine when I have just in certain spots marginally better personnel in certain spots, right? So I don't say I would do what I did 10 times out of 10 out of defiance. I say I would do 10 times out of 10 because what I did was be who I am. I'm a prideful individual, like, and I'm still going to be. Again, I bring this up all the time, and because we haven't really talked about the end of season 1 with Mikey winning the Super Bowl, I'm gonna say this: I don't need no championship to validate who I am in this league. I take it one step further. I'm at the point in my Madden career and in my real life career to where my biggest wins, if they come off the field, then so be it. Straight up and down. But that's not going to dilute the quality of play that I put out here. That's not going to dilute the product, my intellect for the game, my acumen for the game. It's not going to dilute none of that. I'm just saying I've grown from the rookie in Madden 15 to now to where I'm fine if I don't win a championship. I'm going to strive at the same time to do just that though. But if it don't happen, I did it my way. And what have I always said? I'd be an original with no hardware before I'd be a copy of one of y'all and diamonds encrusted all across my fingers. And I said it's my dying day. So everybody's saying I'm disappointed, and I get it from the standpoint of like, like you were OG, you're not supposed to be. That's a bad example. Understood. But and then there's also I've heard this probably several times in the past 24 hours. There's also the whole thing of you could have just conceded. What? You tell me this. True or false, right or wrong? Is me asking my opponent to chew the clock, isn't that concession enough? Honestly, isn't it? Do y'all want me to revolutionize one more thing? And that is by hitting the concede button that I didn't even know was there. Mind you, I don't even have any pauses left. So how was I going to do that? Riddle me that. I understand emotions got the best of me. But, I'm just putting you into my shoes. I'm giving you my perspective. Y'all want me to hit concede. Do you know what that would do to me? But you know what? Maybe I should have, because after a certain point, it's not just wins and losses, right? Like this is as bad as I have ever looked in this league. We talking almost a decade. We talk almost a decade, right? You take away the undefeated season. You take away all the division championships. You take away every big win that I've had in this league. You take away my worst losses. You take away the whole cycle with the Oakland Raiders at the time. Take that all away. If this is what I have, this is the worst I have ever looked here. And I still churned out 9 wins last season. So, question time, pause the game. How many wins you think I'm gonna finish with this season? Go ahead. Here are your 3 choices. A, or number 1, 4 or under. 2, choice B, 5 through 8. 3, choice C, 9 on the dot, like last year. 4, choice D, 10 or more. You tell me. Put it in the chat. I'll go back and look at you. No, I'll miss nothing. Go ahead. Put it in the comments. Put it wherever you want. DM it to me. It don't matter. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm going to the postseason. Give a damn who on that field. I don't care who's suspended. I'm gonna make it there, because guess what? The first win in our whole division, the AFC South, just happened about an hour ago. Cheers, Newt. First win. You did it for us. I didn't think we'd ever get here. And hell, I wasn't helping. But what I'm trying to say is, this is the same division. I just went 5-1 in last season. And that one loss, trust you me, I'm gonna get that back tenfold. I already know it. It's week 6. Tennessee coming here. And we got a debt to pay to them. We owe them a little bit. And it's a whole lot of y'all in that schedule out. Oh, for real, for real. I ain't forgot about season 1. I ain't forgot about struggling and trying to keep up with y'all and looking at y'all in other weeks, not live up to expectations, kind of how I'm not right now. But still, when y'all got here, I could have had a better game plan, but ultimately we faltered because of personnel. I ain't forgot. I don't forget none of this. How you think I just rattled you off 8 years of history like that? So, be as it may, you can call it what you want. You can say I got fleeced in trades. I didn't. The proof is there. If anything, I'm the cat they copy, not the copycat, right? But say what you want. It's 3 games in. Look at everything in front of us. I can tell you this right now. We having a playoff game at H-Town. I don't give a damn who the opponent is either. We're going to win that bitch too. I promise you that. If we lose, should we lose in the postseason? It won't be on this field. I owe these people too much. I owe these fans too much. They done bought in. And now I got to go deliver. And I'm going to do just that. So I just wanted to come on here and give y'all my side of the story. This is what it is. We are who we are. And right now, we're heading towards being an 0-4 football team. We don't look that good. I already told you, this is the worst I've ever looked in probably my Madden playing life. But I didn't start where y'all started. I'm trying to get to y'all's starting point still right now. And that's what franchise is for, right? If it were just one season, why would we do it? See it out. H-Town, keep it locked with me. I ain't quitting on y'all. Don't quit on me. We're going to get this turned around. We're going to get it turned around mighty damn soon. And this ain't open. This session ain't open to media. This is simply you and me. The camera and myself, the viewer and myself. H-Town, we here. We got it. I understand everything's bigger in Texas, and I get it, right? We haven't done none of what we're going to do. Everything is still in front of us. And the best is yet to come. When I get back on that field, starting week 5, here hosting the LA Chargers, I believe, you'll start to see the changes. I'm cluing you in on one right now, but you got to have context to understand what that clue is. You got to have context to understand my actions yesterday and the reasoning for them. You got to have context to understand that what the commissioners did wasn't just to me, it's a message to y'all. It's like, look, he ain't been in trouble. He's not a troublemaker. Talking about myself. So, no charge. Consider it just another one of the times I'm going across for the rest of the league. It is what it is. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to be who I've always been. That's TLE. The original elite. YSN. You know what that means. But simply put, like right now, when I ain't got nothing to do but to sit here, watch and wait for week 5, real rap brother. Owner of the Houston Texans right now. An all-time great forevermore. I see you soon, Houston. Keep it locked. We ain't going nowhere.